Have you ever looked at a massive warehouse and just wondered, how does this not fall into complete chaos? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a secret weapon they use. It's like a digital bouncer that keeps everything perfectly in its place. It's a tiny little setting called the UHU type check. And believe me, it makes a world of difference. Let's get into it.
I know. It sounds like a weird riddle, right? On one hand, you've got your cereal and some cans of soup. On the other, you've got forklifts, thousands of pallets. They seem like totally different worlds, but they actually share a really fundamental challenge. And it's a challenge that this little system feature is designed to solve perfectly.
And there it is. That's the secret. Without rules, your pantry turns into a mess where you can never, ever find the sugar when you need it. And a warehouse? Well, it becomes an inefficient, chaotic, and honestly, a pretty dangerous place. It all just comes down to having a system, a set of rules for where things are supposed to go.
Okay, so before we see exactly how this bouncer does its job, we need to learn the language it speaks. But don't worry, this is going to be way simpler than it sounds. We're just going to quickly translate the 3 key terms that you absolutely need to know. First up is the handling unit, or just HU for short. Now, forget the fancy name. All you need to think is container. That's it. In your pantry, it's the cereal box. In the warehouse, it's that big cardboard box or the wooden pallet it sits on, or maybe even a special temperature-controlled crate. It's just the thing that's holding the products. Simple.
Next, we've got storage type. Again, super simple. This is just a specific zone or an area. You know how in your pantry you might have one shelf just for cans and another for snacks? Same idea. In a warehouse, you've got these huge racks for pallets. You've got smaller shelving for individual items, and maybe a refrigerated area. Each of those is its own storage type.
And this brings us to the main event, the star of our show, the U type check. This is the rule that connects our container to our area. This is the bouncer at the door of the small item shelves that looks at a giant pallet and says, whoa, hold on there, you can't come in here. This area is only for small boxes. It's what actually enforces the rules.
So, okay, why would you go to all the trouble of setting up this digital bouncer? Well, the difference between having this rule on and having it off, it's pretty much the difference between perfect order and total chaos. Let's take a look at what that actually looks like. And this slide just says it all, doesn't it? Look at the left side. Without that check, you get chaos. You have big pallets blocking areas for small bins, you get tons of wasted space, and you really risk damaging products. But then you look to the right. With the check turned on, everything has a proper home. It's efficient, it's organized, and it is so much safer for everyone. So how does the system actually play the role of a bouncer? What's it doing behind the scenes? Well, the logic is actually really straightforward, and it all happens at one very specific moment. So the moment someone in the warehouse gets an order to move an item from point A to point B, that's what we call a warehouse task, the system instantly jumps in. Before the forklift driver has even started their engine, the system asks one simple question. Hey, is the container you're trying to move, this HU type, allowed in the destination you're going to, that storage type? If the answer is no, the task is just stopped in its tracks. And for any of you who are curious about where this little magic switch is hidden, well, it's kind of buried deep in the configuration settings. You have to follow this exact path through the system menus to get to the screen where you can tell the system exactly which containers can go into which areas. This is where you basically give the bouncer their instructions. Now, all of this sounds pretty great, right? An automatic rule that creates perfect organization. But there's a catch. There's one really crucial condition. The system needs one more critical piece of information from you for any of this to work at all. Think of this system talking directly to you. It's basically saying this: look, I am totally happy to be your bouncer, but you can't just tell me this club is for VIPs. You have to give me a detailed guest list for every single table, every single chair, and every single spot in the entire place. If you don't, I can't do my job. So here's the bottom line. If you're going to turn on the Hue type check for an area, you are also signing up to define every single individual location, every single bin within that area. You can't leave any spot ambiguous. The system needs total 100% clarity to enforce the rule. There are no exceptions. So let's just bring it all together really quick. The HU type check is your digital bouncer, your automated warehouse organizer. It works by simply making sure the right container goes to the right area. And by doing that, it prevents chaos and makes the whole operation way smoother and safer. And the one big catch to remember, You have to give that bouncer a complete and total guest list. You have to define every single location if you want the rule to work. It really makes you think, doesn't it? This is just one little example in warehouse software, but this principle, it's absolutely everywhere. Think about email filters that sort your mail, or even just file naming conventions on your own computer. What are some of the simple rules you rely on to keep digital chaos from taking over? It's just a really powerful concept, turning one simple check into perfect, predictable order. Thanks for joining me.